Well, this one's kind of weird. Well, not weird, but yeah. Black Lightning creator Tony Isabella takes issue with Deathstroke, questioning why DC continues to publish comic book headlining a child molester. And before I read this one yesterday, I kind of had some general idea of where this is going. I mean, I was really skimming through it just to see like what images they were using, because just to see if they would show the comic in question that I was thinking it was, and I was like, oh yeah, it's that one. It's that old Teen Titans comic. He was bitching about that one. Anyway, yeah, article about Binding Comics. Tony Isabella is unhappy that DC Comics continues to use the character of Deathstroke, as Black Lightning creator recently took issue with the publisher's continued use of the character he believes to be a child molester. Um, on August 25th, seemingly apropos of nothing, Isabella took to both his Twitter and Facebook to ask his followers, why does DC Comics continue to publish comic books headlining a child molester? Why hasn't the national media called them out on this? What a douche. I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate child molesters, but like I vaguely remember the context of this comic, but if this turns out to be as stupid as part of me is thinking it is, I'm probably gonna end up wishing I had tried alcohol a long time ago. Anyway, continuing with the article, it's Deathstroke, he clarified in a follow-up post, and what you didn't come up with that and that you didn't come up with that name immediately shows how much DC Comics has whitewashed one of the most inexcusable storylines to make a buck. While the character is not currently headlining any current publishing DC titles, Deathstroke is set to headline the eponymously named Deathstroke Inc., a new 12-issue miniseries this September. Anyway, though Isabella does not specify which elements of Deathstroke's history he considers to be child molestation, it is assumed that the author is referencing the supervillain/assassin's previous relationship with 15 or 16-year-old, depending on a given story's chronology. Tara Markov, as depicted in Marv Wolfman and George Perez's now iconic 1980s New Teen Titans storyline, The Judas Contract. Yeah, it was what I thought was and this is the comic I assumed they were bitching about, because like I've never read a Teen Titans comic. I've watched videos on people and listened to videos by people talking about older comics. This one kind of stood out because it was semi-adapted into a animated DC movie by the same name. I think some stuff was changed out though, but yeah, Tara and Deathstroke's relationship has been established fact of continuity for some time, but recently DC decided to up the ante, so to speak, in regards to how the villain's treatment of his underage lover is discussed. In 2021's The Other History of the DC Universe, Volume 1, Issue 3, Future State, the new Batman author and 12 Years a Slave screenwriter Johnny Ridley declared, though the lens of the regular Outsiders member Katana that Slade Wilson raped Tara Markov. Not with physical force, Katana continues her recollection during the issue. He coerced an underage, mentally unstable girl into having sexual relations with him again and again and again, and Slade used the sexual dominance to manipulate Tara. Basically, Tara was trafficked. The superheroine asserts, for many years, Brian, aka her hero known as Geoforce, would have to deal with his half-sister being remembered as a duplicitous sociopath. Ridley then takes a swing at both fans of Deathstroke and creators who have continued to use the character in their stories, writing, that was made all the more painful as Deathstroke developed a cult following for being a badass and a man's man, but rarely was he called out for being what he was, a pedophilic rapist. It should be noted that as a writer, Christopher Priest's 2018 run of Deathstroke, the original, the Jewish contract storytelling has been slightly retconned since its initial publication, and as such, in the current DC continuity, Deathstroke never actually slept with the underage Tara. Good. However, after receiving a fair amount of pushback from the readers, Isabella announced that he had deleted the Deathstroke treat because, to be honest, it's making me sick to my stomach to see DC Comics apologists in action. Oh, so people didn't have anything to say, so you were a little bitch about it, alright? And don't get me wrong, the original story involving Deathstroke and Tara, whatever, it is kind of creepy. No, not kind of. It is creepy. The idea that is unsettling to me, but at the same time, it's messed up. I can agree there, but by the same token, going after fans who like Deathstroke over that is kind of underhanded and kind of petty, but I expect nothing less. Surprisingly, one such apologist was Kingdom Come and 52 writer Mark Waid, who, after offering his own opinion to Isabella, which has since been deleted alongside Isabella's initial Facebook post, concludes, "Sorry you felt that way, Tony. I gotta admit that..." Okay, I'm going to read more before I make an assumption on that. Clearly, this specific thing is a hot-button issue for you, he added, and you know that I, of all people, do not fit the category of DC Comics apologists, so I assume that referred to others. No, you're not an apologist. You are a scumbag, Mark Waid, a piece of shit. And a man-child who throws a temper tantrum when things don't go your way. So fuck you. Yeah, and now looking at the comments, to the people who run Hollywood and the media are... The people who run Hollywood and the media are now condemning a character who, see, the answer is right there. Isn't Deathstroke a villain? Am I missing something? I don't defend him, but there is more nymprophilia in some of the countries it is allowed if they are consensual relations. In Spain since 16 years, and it was 13 years until a case of domestic violence when the law was charged. And theoretically, all members of the Teen Titans, including Tara, should be 18, and underage should be allowed to face lethal menace. Okay. Those are some of the comments. Tony Isabella is still crying how Black Lightning was replaced by Black Vulcan and Super Friends, and he missed out on all that sweet merch money. That's also a possibility, because I still do not think Tony Isabella is making this claim out of pure altruism. I think it's just to get attention. That's what don't get me wrong. I think that idea of Tara sleeping with Deathstroke, who is very much older than her, and she looked like she was still a teenager, is kind of disgusting. And the fact that people who were confront the issue made about the fans was doubly pathetic. Slade Wilson is an interesting character, I will say that up front. He is one of the villains in the DC universe I actually find interesting. That part of his life is not interesting. It's kind of disturbing, but it is what it is. It happened. And I'm surprised. If it's still part of the continuity, I am very surprised. Very. And yeah, that's the article, and it's... Yeah, but now... that's the annoying thing about today, is everyone is just now getting all indignatious about stuff that happened in the past. It's not... They didn't do this very early on. It was just now, when it's a popular thing to do, to tear stuff down, do they do it. So yeah, this reeks of opportunistic cunthood. And yeah, it's just stupid. It's stupid and pathetic. So Tony Isabella, you are a pathetic human being. Go get a life. Or stop it. Get some help. But yeah, again, that's the video. Have a nice day. Remember, the game was rigged from the start.